We're all living through this incredible AI hype, right? But you have to wonder, what comes next? What happens when the magic trick of just generating text isn't enough anymore, and we start demanding AI that actually, truly understands our world? Okay, let's dive right into that.
This quote right here is from AI pioneer Yann LeCun, and it's not just some philosophical one-liner. Nope, it's the entire mission of his new company, AMI Labs. And get this, they've just raised $1 billion to build AI systems that are grounded in reality. $1 billion!
And that really sets up the central question for this whole explainer. If real intelligence begins with understanding the world, why have we spent all this time and money building AIs that have never actually seen a sunset, or felt rain, or, tasted a strawberry? It's a huge paradox, and we really need to unpack it.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the big problem with today's AI. Then we'll cover the 4 massive challenges the next AI revolution has to solve. After that, we'll introduce a pretty radical new solution called the Falcon Architecture, see how it works in a high-stakes medical situation, and finally, really understand what it means to go from an AI that's just guessing to one that actually knows.
Okay, so let's start with the big AI in the room, hallucinations. When an AI just confidently makes stuff up. It turns out this isn't some simple bug we can just patch. It's actually a core feature of how they're designed.
The best way to get your head around this is with an analogy. So imagine an AI, and it's trapped in this perfectly sealed, windowless room. Its entire universe is just an infinite library. Now, it can read every book ever written, like instantly. It learns all the statistical patterns, which words tend to follow other words. It knows apple shows up near red and crisp, but it has never, ever tasted an apple. It's completely cut off from physical reality.
And look, this disconnection, it's not just a cute metaphor. It's a real mathematical problem. Think of the AI's universe of language as a flat piece of paper. And the real world, with all its messy complexity, that's like a basketball. Now try wrapping that flat paper around the basketball. You can't do it, right? It's going to rip and tear. Well, those tears, those are the hallucinations. They are an unavoidable mathematical certainty of the current design.
So, if the way we're doing things now is basically a dead end, what's the path forward? Well, AMI Labs says that to build real intelligence, we have to solve 4 fundamental challenges first.
Okay, number 1. The AI has to actually understand the real world, not just text about the world. 2, it needs a persistent memory so it can learn from experience, like we do, instead of getting amnesia every time you open a new chat window. 3, it has to be able to reason about cause and effect so it can plan its actions. And finally, number 4, it has to be controllable and safe from the ground up, by its very design, not just by slapping some filters on at the end.
And this brings us to a really radical new blueprint designed to meet every single one of those challenges. It's called the Falcon Architecture, and it comes from the semiotic web. Now, this isn't just a slightly better version of what we already have. It is a completely different way of thinking about how an AI can understand meaning.
Let's just put them side by side for a second. Current models, they're generative. They're just guessing the next word. Falcon is predictive. It's literally bounded by reality. Current models make decisions by rolling probability dice. Falcon makes a deterministic choice. They are stateless. They forget everything. Falcon has a perfect, auditable memory. And this is the big one. Their safety is just a filter added on later. Falcon's safety is built right into its core structure.
So, the Falcon architecture is built on 4 pillars, and you'll see how each one is specifically designed to solve one of those 4 big challenges we just talked about. Let's break them down one by one.
Pillar number 1 is semantic gravity. This is what solves the understand the world problem. Imagine the AI's internal mind is like a giant stretched-out trampoline. Now, every verified fact from the real world, like a lab result or a sensor reading, is like a heavy bowling ball you place on that trampoline. It physically warps the fabric. So now, a line of reasoning is like a marble rolling across that surface. It's naturally going to be pulled into those deep wells created by the facts. Hallucinating becomes the same as trying to roll that marble uphill. It's a mathematical and energetic impossibility.
The second pillar is the token. This is how you cure AI amnesia. A token is basically a tamper-proof, unforgeable unit of meaning. Think of it like an ancient decree that's been sealed in wax. It links an abstract idea, a real-world measurement, and its entire history together. Every single experience is recorded as a token, and as these tokens build up, they literally reshape the AI's internal geometry. Its own experience becomes the structure for all future decisions.
Pillar 3 tackles reasoning and planning. You see, current AI is stuck on correlation. It sees that ice cream sales and shark attacks go up at the same time and might think one causes the other. This new architecture uses a special kind of math to look past the surface and find the true hidden cause, in this case, the summer heat. It moves from just seeing patterns to actually understanding real-world consequences.
And finally, safety and control. This pillar makes safety a matter of physics, not just policy. If the AI needs a piece of information to make a decision, let's say a patient's genetic data, and it doesn't have a verified fact for it, it doesn't guess. It hits a mathematical brick wall. The system physically stops that line of thought dead in its tracks and reports that it has a knowledge gap. It is structurally incapable of computing a thought it can't verify.
All right, so that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's walk through a high-stakes medical case to see the Falcon Architecture in action.
So, meet Marie. She comes in with symptoms of diabetes. The AI, using semantic gravity, quickly nails the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, based on thousands of verified past cases. But, and this is key, when it checks for a rare genetic form, it sees it's missing Marie's genetic data and hits a structurally bounded refusal. It stops, preventing a guess, and flags that it needs more information. For treatment, it uses causal reasoning to recommend metformin, calculating the actual effect it'll have on her body. The whole process, prescription, pharmacy, patient, is recorded as a perfect, unbreakable chain of tokens. It has a perfect memory. And here's the real magic. 90 days later, Marie's results aren't quite what was predicted. The AI learns from this new real-world fact, even taking into account her 78% medication adherence. It then permanently updates its internal model. This one experience makes it smarter for the very next patient.
What we've just watched it's a profound shift. This is the end of the line for AIs that are just guessing their way through problems. And it's the beginning of a whole new era for intelligence, one that's grounded in actually knowing.
You see, the old way was a sealed loop of text statistics. The new way is a verified flow of information from reality itself. The goal isn't just to pile up the most text tokens in the biggest data center anymore. The new goal is to close the gap between our models and the real world, all powered by the right equation.
And this really leaves us with one last thought. We're demanding that our machines be grounded in verified reality. But what about us? In our own lives, as we scroll through endless feeds, are we demanding verified facts before we form our own opinions? Or are we, too, just speed-reading dictionaries in the dark?